The Socialist Equality Party calls on all working people, youth and students who want a genuine alternative to the parties of the present political establishment to support our election campaign. We're asking for your vote, but our campaign goes well beyond the ballot box. It is aimed at the development of an independent socialist movement to address and resolve the fundamental problems which confront working people the world over, problems which have their origins in the world capitalist system. The wars in Iraq and Afghanistan are not simply the outcome of the criminality of the Bush administration. The so-called war on terror is the means by which the United States, faced with economic decline and the rise of new rivals such as China, is seeking to maintain its global dominance by military means. The first decade of the 21st century bears a striking resemblance to the early years of the 20th. Then, the conflicts among the capitalist great powers led to a world war of unprecedented savagery, unleashing a series of conflicts which continued over the next 2 decades, only to once again erupt in the Second World War. Today, the same kind of great power rivalries dominate international relations. The fight against war can only succeed if it is based on a political program aimed at ending the capitalist system. Social and economic life must be reorganised on an international scale to meet the needs of the world's people instead of the profits of the giant corporations and financial institutions. The greatest single crime of the Howard government is its collaboration with the US in the destruction of Iraq. More than 1 million people have been killed, and more than 4 million people have been made refugees. But the Labor Party is no less guilty. It has never opposed the US invasion and occupation of Iraq. Its differences with the Howard government are purely tactical. Moreover, it calls for increased troop commitments to Afghanistan and will back any US attack on Iran. And along with the Democrats and the Greens, Labor supports the Australian military police interventions in East Timor, the Solomons and elsewhere in the South Pacific. Militarism abroad means deepening attacks on democratic rights at home. More than 40 pieces of so-called anti-terror legislation have been passed by the Howard government, with Labor's support, since 2001. They are not aimed at the protection of the population, but the erosion of fundamental democratic rights. This was seen in the police state measures used in Sydney during the APEC summit. Anti-democratic measures are intrinsically linked to another feature of present-day life, the growth of social inequality. Notwithstanding all the claims about economic growth, the past period has seen a redistribution of income and wealth up the income scale. Meanwhile, the debt burden on ordinary working people is so great that any significant downturn, let alone a recession, could see them lose everything. And that could happen at any time. Recent scenes of people queuing to withdraw their money from a cash-strapped bank in Britain sound a warning about the increasing instability of the global financial system. The growth of financial parasitism, a process which has provided fabulous returns to a tiny layer of the corporate elite, and the instability it has created threaten to bring disaster, engulfing hundreds of millions of people the world over. None of the parliamentary parties, including the Greens, has a viable policy to meet the dangers posed by climate change. This is because they all accept the framework of capitalism, which is the underlying cause of the problem. Global warming has been described as the greatest market failure in history. Therefore, it can only be countered by measures which challenge and overturn the dominance of the profit system. Only an international socialist program aimed at the unification of working people all over the world can end the scourge of war, guarantee social and economic security for all, and combat the dangers posed to the earth itself. This is what the SEP fights for. Give this program your support. Vote for our candidates, and even more important, take part in our campaign.